Hello students, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe my TikTok page. I'm teacher Nobi Fakun. Okay. So with that, our objectives of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to 1. Define and illustrate the absolute value of a number. 2. Find the absolute value of a number. So ito po yung kailangan nyo matutunan or ma-master this week. So are you ready? Okay, so with that, let's define. Pag sinabi natin absolute value, it refers to a number which is the distance from zero. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabing absolute value po ay tumutukoy po ito sa distansya ng number magmula doon sa zero natin. Meron tayong number line na tinatawag natin, no? So kung mapapansin natin, nandito po yung ating zero sa gitna. Sa pagitan niya, nandun po yung negative, yung left side. Ito yung ating negative and positive, this one. And based on this illustration, we are going to define the absolute value using this Bitmoji. Okay. Kung si Bitmoji ay lumakad mula doon sa zero, lumakad siya pakaliwa. So nandito siya ngayon sa negative 5 huminto. So therefore, kukunin natin ang distansya niya. No? Ilan yung nilakad ni Bitmoji magmula doon sa zero. So i-represent natin yun na absolute value. So we have this absolute value. Ang tawag po sa symbol na ito ay absolute value of negative 5 pag binasa ko to. And if we are going to get the absolute value of negative 5, kung tapansinin natin yung ilan yung nilakad ni Bitmoji from 0, that is 5. Yun yung distance na sinasabi po dito sa ating definition, magmula sa 0. And how about Angel Bitmoji? Kung kukunin natin yung nilakad naman going to right at huminto siya doon sa 5, we are going to represent that using the absolute value, and that is absolute value of 5. Then kukunin natin yung distansya ni Angel Bitmoji mula doon sa 0. That is, the absolute value of 5 is positive 5. And what if kunin natin yung absolute value of 0? Di ba nandito yung 0 natin sa gitna? What is the absolute value of 0? That is 0 because there is no distance. Di ba? Nandyan ka lang sa starting point. Hindi ka naman lumakad either going to left or right. Kaya absolute value of 0 is 0 din. Wala siyang distance. Based on the illustration that you have observed, ano ngayon ang ibig sabihin ng absolute value? So absolute value is simply the distance from 0, and therefore, we can say that the distance cannot be negative. So the absolute value can never be negative. So therefore, kung hindi siya negative, so masasabi natin ang absolute value of any number is always positive. Yun lamang ibig sabihin nun. Maliban lang sa 0, kasi nga wala namang distansya yon. And I would like to emphasize, no, there is no distance. Tandaan natin yan kapag narinig natin. Absolute value, always positive. So with that, meron tayong tinatawag na opposite sa absolute value. Two numbers that have the same absolute value but different signs are called opposite. Kung mapapansin natin, meron tayong negative numbers and positive numbers. So ibig sabihin yung katapat niya, no? So we call that opposite. And the example will be, ayan, kung mapapansin natin, nandito yung 0, tapos negative 6, tapos positive 6. They are called opposite. Kasi nga, negative 6 and positive 6 are opposite because both are 6 units away from 0. So kaya nga pag kinuha natin yung absolute value of negative 6 is positive 6. And the absolute value of 6 is also positive 6 because they have the same distance or 6 units away from 0. And with that, we are going to evaluate the absolute value. Ask yourself, no, how far is the number from 0? Let's have example. What is the absolute value of negative 4? Kung nandito yung negative 4, kukunin mo yung distansya niya magmula doon sa 0. Siyempre, diba, based on the definition, there is no negative. So always positive dapat yung distance. Kaya ang absolute value ng negative 4 is 4, always positive. And what is the absolute value of 3? Number 2 tayo. So nandito siya, di ba? Ito yung absolute value representation. Okay, pag kinuha mo yung distance niya from 0, that is positive 3 or 3. And what is the absolute value of negative 6? Di ba yung negative 6 natin nandito siya. Therefore, get the distance from 0. That is positive 6. And what about this na may operation sa inside ni absolute value symbol? Just simply perform first or simplify. Tapos ilalabas natin yung sagot doon sa absolute value and always positive. Kaya nga 8 minus 3, kaya magiging itsura niya ay 5. Naka-absolute value pa rin siya. Kapag nilabas mo yung absolute value of 5, that is positive 5. So ito na yung representation niya. Okay, so another. Number 5, what if absolute value of 20 divided by 4, di ba kapag kinuha natin yan, negative to, positive yan, pag divide mo absolute value of negative 5. Kaya pag nilabas mo yung absolute value of negative 5, that is positive 5 kasi nga always positive. And what is the absolute value of 3 times 5? That is 15 kasi nga, di ba, minultiply mo muna tapos yung product nun, kinuha mo yung absolute value niya, that is always positive. Kaya 15 niya. Okay, what is absolute value of 9 plus 1 minus the absolute value of 1 plus 2? I-simplify muna natin, no? Di ba naka-absolute value? 9 plus 1 is 10. Ilagay muna natin sa loob. Absolute value pa rin. Minus, what is the absolute value of 1 plus 2? That is 3. Kaya pag nilabas mo yung absolute value ng 10, 10 yon. Pag nilabas mo yung absolute value ng 3, 3. Then kaya 10 minus 3, the answer is 7 or positive 7. Okay, dito naman number 8, what is the absolute value of 10 minus 2? Diba? Kapag sinimplify natin yan, magiging 8 or absolute value of 8 plus, what is absolute value of 20 minus 20? Diba? Absolute value of 0. Remember, there is no distance from 0, di ba? Kaya nga, absolute value of 0 is 0. Kaya 0 plus absolute value of 8 is 8. Kaya that is positive 8 or 8. So, ganun lang siya. So with that, let's have a problem. A seagull is flying at an altitude of 107 feet and a shark is swimming at a depth of 112 feet relative to sea level. When we say relative to sea level, no, so nandito siya yung starting point mo. Andito yung 0, di ba? Okay, dito ka magsisimula. Which animal is farther from sea level? Kung nandito yung ating sea level, meron siyang 107 feet na distance magmula doon sa 0. Si shark naman ay negative 112 feet, yung distance niya from 0, kasi depth siya, di ba? Okay, so kukunin natin, paano natin malalaman ang sagot kung sino yung mas malayo sa kanila. First, we are going to answer, shark is farther from sea level. Bakit kaya mas malayo yung shark? Because if we're going to get the absolute value of the shark, that is negative 112, kapag kinuha natin yung absolute value niya is 112. Always remember, that is positive. And what is the absolute value of 107? Yun yung seagull. Diba? Kaya that is 107. If we are going to compare, sino yung mas malayo ngayon sa 0? So ang sagot natin dyan ay yung 112. Yun yung shark. Kaya nga, kapag kinumpare natin yan, the absolute value of 112 is greater than absolute value of 107. Kaya ang sagot natin dyan is shark. Okay, so with that, we are going to compare absolute value of a number by using the greater than, less than, or equal. So just simply put the symbol inside the box. Okay, or you can use the number line, no, to compare. Kung makikita mo lang naman kung sino mas malayo sa 0, siya na yung magiging ano natin, either greater than, less than. Siyempre pag equal yan, same. Okay, what is the absolute value of negative 4? Diba? Kapag nilabas natin yan, that is 4. What is the absolute value of negative 3? 3. If we are going to compare, anong symbol ang atin nilalagay sa box? So that is greater than, kasi mas malayo yung distance ni 4 compare sa 3. Okay, next, what is the absolute value of negative 35 compared to absolute value of 35? So the answer is equal because if you're going to get this is 35, same lang din siya dito. 35 lang din. Okay, so what, if you're going to put the symbol, syempre compare muna natin what is the absolute value of 24. Syempre 24. Lagay natin muna 24. What is the absolute value of negative 25? That is 25. So therefore, ano yung symbol na gagamitin natin? That is less than. Meaning to say, 24 ay mas maliit yung distansya niya compare natin sa 25. Okay, so with that, I hope you learned something about the absolute value and how to illustrate the absolute value of a number. So I hope you learned something. And don't forget to subscribe my TikTok page. So thank you so much.